everyone, welcome to Million Lights. For those who are watching me for the first time, my name is Shalini. I am a soft skill trainer and a spoken English trainer. Today we will be covering up soft skill module, and the topic for today is how to introduce yourself. You will very often come across situations where you will be asked to tell something about yourself. Be prepared when you're asked to talk about yourself. It is very important to be prepared in this competitive business environment to know how to introduce yourself. Before I start, I would like to tell you all that fluency in English does not mean you have to speak fast or quickly. It means that you should be able to convey your message smoothly and clearly, without any hesitation. So, get out there and speak English. Talk to the conversation. Nothing will help you until you speak. It's a practical skill. Self-introduction is both a personal and a professional communication skill that is needed in your everyday life. In conversation, when you meet a person for the first time, number of things everyone expects is to introduce yourself, and likewise to the other person. The mode of introduction varies depending on gesture and language one uses. You have heard people saying life success is all about selling yourself first, after which what you promote comes later. This also means that self-introduction is your immediate step to selling yourself to become successful. Why it is important to tell people about yourself? People learn about you personally and professionally. You become familiar to everyone, including your clients, if any. A sense of trust and belief is created in them, hence, you have sold yourself. Your reputation and your personal brand grow, thereby opening a path for your success. It motivates others to believe in themselves and do more with their lives. Possibility of opening up opportunities for you from well-wishers and other interested parties alike. It helps polish your weaknesses, resulting in increasing your strong side of you and more inner growth, and course market you and your product. Always keep it positive. When telling someone about yourself, you want to keep the description upbeat and positive. Whether you are in a job interview or on a first date, you're marketing yourself. So you want the advertisement to be relatable. It might be true that you dislike your job or you have hit the rocks financially. But if that's the first thing you say, you're likely to make a negative first impression. Sense of humor and the positive outlook. One life as must-have qualities for potential dates. Stick so true facts that show your fun and healthy side. Tell me about yourself. It is an easy thing, but it's always better to be prepared to leave a good impression on a person. You must be thinking, it's so easy to tell your name, but does not mean only name. It also means that you have to give information like where you are from, where you live now, where you work, the job you have, your hobbies, or much more, depending upon the situation you are and how much information is expected from you. By giving all the information, the other person can know you better. The two most common ways to start the introduction are hi and hello. Remember that hi is an informal way to introduce yourself and is only followed by your first name. The other way is hello, which is always followed by first name and the last name. Always have in mind the following tips when introducing yourself under any situation. Make eye contact. Eye contact shows that you are prepared in the interaction. Eye contact is one way to connect with another human and show that the other person has your attention. When you make eye contact, it shows that you are open and engaged. If you're not comfortable looking straight into someone's eyes, stare at the point between your eyebrows. She won't notice the difference. If you're in a group setting, make a periodic eye contact with those around you. Smile. It is important to keep a genuine, bright smile when you meet a new person. Be genuinely happy to meet someone new and to share positive experience, and it will help to create a genuine smile. Including the upper part of your face in your smile creates a more genuine and less fabricated smile. Use appropriate body language. Your body language should communicate that you are confident and at ease. Stand with your head high, your back straight. Be careful not to slouch. Mirror the body language of people around you. Also, mirror the pace of speech and tone of speech of those near you to build rapport. You may introduce yourself differently that makes people remember you. Today, we will be learning introducing yourself for a job interview, introducing yourself to an individual, introducing yourself in a professional event, or introducing yourself on phone or emails, and even at parties. Tips to how to introduce yourself in job interview. Tip 1. You have to mention your title. You also have to mention number of years in that role, your company's name, your major responsibilities. For example, I can say I started off my career as a financial analyst 5 years ago with XYZ company, where I performed full cycle accounting, month-end close procedure, and so on. So what I want here from all of you is to keep in mind tip 1 and frame a statement taking help from the example I just shared with you. Let's jump on to tip number 2. Make your mini stories achievement oriented. That means one major accomplishment that you were able to achieve in that role. An accomplishment is any time where you have saved time, saved money, improved processes, or improved profitability. Let me help you continuing with an example. In that role, a major accomplishment I am most proud of was I was able to reduce the time spent on month-end procedure by developing an Excel model. So once again, you all will continue and use tip 2, that is making a mini achievement story. Let's jump on to tip number 3. Tell the employer what you know about this role. It is time to acknowledge to the employer that you know the need for this particular position they are hiring on. So you can say something like this. I understand that for this position of finance manager that you're hiring for, you're looking for someone with strong process improvement skills. Important, very important. So many people do not do this, but it is very important, as what it does is psychologically tells the employer that you are not only aware of your abilities, but that you're also aware of his or her needs well. This creates a connection with employer. Let's jump on to tip number 4, our final tip. Tell the employer why you are the right fit for what they need. This is an icing on the cake. You have to tell your strengths, show your confidence. Continue the example. Let me help you here again. Overall, due to my strong background and achievements in successfully identifying gaps and creating efficiencies, I am confident I'll be able to succeed in this role you are hiring for. Let me repeat the whole example for you. I started off my career as a financial analyst 5 years ago with XYZ company, where I performed full cycle accounting, month-end close procedure. In that role, a major accomplishment I am most proud of was I was able to reduce the time spent on month-end procedure by developing an Excel model. I understand that for this position of finance manager that you are hiring for, you are looking for someone with strong process improvement skills. Overall, due to my strong background and achievement in successfully identifying gaps and creating efficiency, I am confident I'll be able to succeed in this role you are hiring for. My suggestion to all is to prepare how to introduce yourself using these 4 tips and use it depending on what situation you are or circumstances you fall in. See, most of you have already prepared yourself with impressive few lines by using the following steps I just explained to you. We will soon have more details on the topic of how to prepare yourself with job interviews. Now, let's see how introducing yourself for the first time. Introducing yourself for the first time in a business meeting or a formal situation is very important. Many times the introduction is the first contact that you have with clients, bosses, partners, or co-workers. Doing it correctly gives a strong first impression. Let's imagine that you are in a meeting where you will be directly meeting another person, whether it's your boss, a co-worker, partner, or a client. You want to approach this person or persons and let them know who you are and possibly your position in your company or who you work for. Let me give you a few examples of intro sentences. First, I don't believe we have met before. I am Shalini Aneja. Or I can say, I don't think we have formally met. I am Shalini Aneja. Or we can say, I just wanted to introduce myself. I am, you can add your name this time. Letting them know your position. So I can say, I am responsible, for example, sales and marketing at ABC Records, accounts and services for the Singapore office. I am in charge of, example, research and development environmental control. Or together these create sentences such as, hello, I don't believe we have met before. I am, for example, John Marshall. I am responsible for quality control at XYZ company. Or I can say, good afternoon. I just wanted to introduce myself. I am Monica Seth. I am in charge of overseeing new developments on the West Side site. After meeting someone else, you can say, it is very nice to meet you. Don't forget that, right? We can also say, it's a pleasure to meet you. Or, pleased to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. I am pleased to meet you. So these are all the options that you can use. Returning to the compliment. Likewise, and you. Don't forget to say goodbye, saying goodbye, right? Goodbye. It's a pleasure to have met you. Or we can say, it was very nice to meet you. I hope we meet again soon. Or, goodbye. It's nice to have met you. Or, it was pleasure finally meeting you. Now, let's see how do we introduce yourself individually. Exchange name. If the introduction is formal, say hello, I am, and you mention your first name and the last name. If it's informal, hi, your first name only. Immediately after you have stated your name, ask for the other person's name by saying, what's your name? In a pleasant tone. When you learn the other person's name, repeat it by saying, it's a pleasure to meet you, or nice to meet you. Repeating the person's name will help you to remember it and give the introduction a more personal touch. Always offer a handshake or other culturally appropriate greeting. Most cultures have a form of a physical contact to accompany a greeting. In United States, it is often a handshake. Be sure to keep the handshake brief and not too loose or floppy or firm. Beware of cultural differences. For instance, if it is considered rude, firmly shake hands in China. I didn't know that before. It is oftenly appropriate to greet with a hug, especially if you're meeting a friend or an in-law. Hugs show more openness than handshake. Women more often than men prefer a hug to a handshake. But in many cultures, it is culturally appropriate to greet with a kiss. In South America, for instance, all women are greeted with one kiss, and in France, the women are greeted one kiss on one cheek. If you're unsure about the appropriate greeting, follow the other person's lead or watch how other persons greet around you. Always remember, ask questions. It's important to show interest in the other person. Ask where she is from, what she does for a living, or ask about any common bonds you may have. Ask about what she loves to do and the passion she has in life. Show that you're engaged and interested in what she has to say. You may tell a little bit of your background in order to engage the conversation and share about yourself. Telling someone where you work or that you love rock climbing is appropriate and may lead to some more conversation topics. Don't take the opportunity to talk only about yourself. You will come across as selfish or uninteresting. Next thing, it's very important to close the conversation. After you have met someone for the first time, you should end the conversation by restating that you enjoyed meeting. If the interaction was formal, say something like, "Mrs. Castro, I'm delighted to have met you. I hope we can talk again soon." If your conversation was informal, you can say, "It was great meeting you. Hope to see you around." Now, let's see. How can we introduce yourself at a professional event? Say your full name. Make sure you provide your full name so that the person can remember your name. You can say, "Hi, my name is Shalini Aneja," right? Or I would repeat, "Hello, I am Shalini Aneja." And they will be more likely to remember you. Give a one-sentence description of what you do. If you're at networking events, then it's likely that you will be talking about what you do to a variety of people. So what do you say when a new connection asks, "What is that you do?" Do you launch into a 10-minute story about your career path? Or do you reel off a list of your accomplishments in your field? Absolutely not. Unless you're having more lengthy conversation, you should be prepared to give a one-sentence description of what you do that gives the following information. Who are you professionally? Are you a teacher, a project manager, or a healthcare professional? Secondly, who do you work with? Do you work with children, cross-cultural project teams, or microfinance organizations? Thirdly, what do you do? Do you help second-grade children develop their writing skills? Do you help cross-cultural teams complete their goals while keeping their budget? Or do you help microfinance organizations expand their market base in developing countries? Now, put your sentence together. State who you are, who you work with, and what you do. Example, I'm a teacher working with high school children to develop their soft skills. Always respect space. If you have items, don't place them on the recruiter or presenter's table. Respect the space and don't overwhelm them. You can also disrupt their materials, such as knocking over posters or messing up the pamphlets. Wait to be asked to exchange business cards or resumes or etc. Follow up with the question, If a person has asked you what you do, don't just walk away and praise yourself for a job well done. Instead, ask a person what he or she does in return. This is not only polite but shows that you have a real interest in the person's career path and want to build a meaningful connection. Say goodbye like a professional. Don't just wave, say, "Nice meeting you," and walk away from the person. Anyone you meet at networking event can have the potential to help you in the future. So make sure that you make eye contact, repeat the person's name, and exchange business cards or any other piece of relevant information before you walk away. Now, let's see how to introduce yourself in an email for the first time. It's very important, right? We have all been in a situation where we need to send an email to someone that we have never met before, whether it's for a business or a school or any other formal situation. It's good to know how to formulate yourself correctly in English to give a best possible first impression. Let me help you with the intro sentence. We can say, "Dear," for example, "Dear John," right? Continue on the next line. We can say, "To whom it may concern." This is reserved for cases where you are sending an email but do not know who it is addressed to. Explain who you are, very important. So I can say, "My name is Shalini Aneja and I am from Diversion Network." Or I can say, "My name is Karen Black, Senior Director of Sales for Oregon Tours." The next thing is we have to explain how you got the email address, if applicable, of course, right? "I received your email from a colleague of mine who purchased a car from you last year," or you can say, "I found your email address on a business card for property consultation." Add how you know the person, also if applicable. "We met each other last month and the Chrysler Sales Convention in Milan. Nice place. I want to go there for a vacation. You may remember me. We were sitting next to each other on a flight from London to Berlin last Friday." Next thing, explain your reasons for writing. So I can say, "I'm writing in regard to the conversation we had about cell phone service providers," or "I wanted to get in contact with you about probably some new commercial opportunities within your channel." Ways to end formally an email. We say kind regards, we can use sincerely, and all the best. Now let's see. Together this creates an email introduction such as, "Dear Kevin Spratt, my name is John. I am from the Diversion Network. You may remember me. We met at a booth in the new tech sale convention in Salt Lake City last week. I'm writing in regards to a conversation we had about software applications that could solve some of the technical issues your company is facing. Kind regards, John Smith." Now let me help you with how to introduce yourself on phone. Making phone calls in English can seem tough, but it's actually easier than you think. If you're traveling abroad or working in a foreign company, you will need to be able to use English on the phone, so take a few minutes to conquer the challenge of using telephone in English with these simple English telephone phrases and techniques. Introduce yourself. English telephone conversations almost always start in the same way. By introducing yourself, say, "Hello, this is," your name of course. To let people know who you are, if you answer the phone and the caller doesn't give his name, you can say, "May I ask who's calling, please?" Practice saying these simple phrases to help yourself feel confident at the start of any telephone conversation. Always make it sure use polite questions with may and could. When you want to speak to a specific person, asked to speak to him or her with a polite question starting with may or could. For example, may I speak to Rachel Smith, please? Sounds a lot better than I want to speak to Rachel Smith. Use polite questions when you're talking about the reason for your call too. For example, if you're calling a hotel, you can say, could I talk to someone about booking a room, please? Holding and transferring. Another important thing you should all keep in mind. When people ask you to hold during a call, they just mean wait. They are ready to connect you to the person you want to speak. They will use the word transfer or put you through a talk about connecting your call to that person. For example, please hold. Okay, I'll put you through the Rachel Smith. Leaving a message is another important way to learn. There are 2 ways to leave a message when someone is not available to speak. You can record a voicemail message or have someone write down a message. The technique is the same for both. Make sure to clearly state your name, the reason of your call, and a number that you would like a person to call if you want them to call you back. Asking the speaker to slow down or repeat something. Even native speakers have to ask people to repeat things sometimes, especially on the phone. If there is a bad line or the sound is not clear, it's natural to ask a person on the other end to repeat what he or she has said. Don't be afraid. Ask people to slow down by saying, sorry, I'm having little trouble hearing you. Could you slow down? Or, sorry, I didn't catch you. Could you repeat it, please? So by taking the time to learn the key elements of introducing yourself, you will be able to impress anyone you meet in a professional situation, from a networking event to an internship coordinator to a hiring manager at the company of your dreams. Luckily, you have already read about many ways to narrow down your interests and position yourself as a mature professional. So all you need to do now is put all those elements together. Take some time before you start meeting people to think about your tangible skills. Thank you, everyone. That's all for today. Hope you have enjoyed the show. In the next show, we will cover up new exciting soft skills topics. For more such interesting sessions, please log on to our website, millionlights.org. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter by the name Million Lights. And you can see more videos like this by subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you want more information about online course, then you can give us a missed call on 02230778274. So everyone, goodbye and keep watching Million Lights. See you soon. Thank you.